So some of you may have noticed that on my song meaning guides, I always skip out on talking about hits different. And basically that's because I was boycotting against it not being on streaming platforms. But I do love the song, and I thought it was about time to give it some love. So I think the song is about how she thinks her state of mind would be if her and Joe were to break up. And she draws comparisons between her past relationships, particularly looking at the one where she went from Calvin to Tom. So let's go into the lyrics. I washed my hands of us at the club. So the song starts off with her basically saying that she's cutting off her connection to the relationship. She's done with it, but I think that's more like what she's hoping for, because as the song goes on, we see that that is not the case at all. You made a mess of me. I pictured you with other girls in love, then threw up on the street. Here she's basically saying two things. The first is that the image of him being with other girls makes her sick to her core, like she's physically sick from the idea of it. The second is that she's dealing with these emotions through the use of alcohol. The being drunk and in pain is a theme that is explored throughout the song, like waiting for a bus that never shows, you just start walking on. So with the simile, what she's saying is that at one point when the wait becomes too long, you just have to move on. People have also drawn parallels between this line and in New Romantic, where she says we wait for trains that just aren't coming. They say that if it's right, you know, each bar plays our song, nothing has ever felt so wrong. Here we have what seems like an obvious reference to her song, Our Song, but also not really. I do think we're at a stage where Taylor could say anything and we would find a way to connect it to something else. It's just a way of saying that no matter where she goes, she sees him in something. So essentially, she's being haunted by the relationship. Oh my, love is a lie. Shit my friends say to get me by. So here she's just saying how her friends are telling her that love is a lie to comfort her and try to make her feel better about the situation. It hits different this time. Catastrophic blues. I don't know why I struggled to say that. If you're a big Taylor Swift fan, you probably know that blue has been a color that she's used in the past the same way people normally use it, to talk about sadness. But more recently, from her Lover album, she started using blue as a way to talk about love. So I think here she's kind of drawing on both of those sides. Moving on was always easy for me to do. It hits different because it's you. She closes the chorus by saying how she would usually not struggle to move on from relationships, but this time, for this person, it's completely different. She feels like without this person, she's falling apart. I used to switch out these Kens, I just ghost. Rip the band-aid off and skip town like an asshole outlaw. So here with Ken, she's obviously referring to Ken from like Barbie and Ken, suggesting that guys in her past were kind of samey, maybe not very special, and she would always just end up ghosting them. The part about skipping town sounds very much like something that would be referencing her song Cowboy Like Me. Freedom felt like summer then on the coast. Now the sun burns my heart and the sand hurts my feelings. And this is where I think she's talking about some of her past relationships. When she's talking about ripping off the band-aid, I think she's talking about her breakup with Calvin Harris, which was very prompt and direct. And then shortly after, she skipped town with Tom and they were photographed at a beach, so at the coast. And when she talks about freedom, that reminded me of her song Getaway Car, which explores a similar theme. And it's a song about her going from Calvin to Tom. It was a great escape, the prison break, the light of freedom on my face. However, compared to that experience, when she imagines her breakup with Joe, she doesn't imagine getting away to the coast making her feel any better. And I never don't cry at the bar. My sadness is contagious. I slur your name till someone puts me in a car. I stopped receiving invitations. So this imagery is very powerful because I feel like you can really see this, and you have probably had friends that have been through something kind of similar in a breakup where they just like become a mess, and every time they're drinking, they just start talking about this person. And this is where we're revisiting that idea of her getting drunk to kind of overcome the whole thing. She's drunk at the bar, crying, bumming everybody else out. She gets so bad that people need to call her a cab to go home, and she simply stopped receiving invitations. So people didn't really want to hang out with her anymore because she was just bumming everybody out. The chorus repeats and we arrive at the bridge. I find the artifacts, cried over a hat, cursed the space that I needed. So here she's either cleaning out the house or just looking around, and she finds things that remind her of how her relationship was. And she says that she's cursing the space that she needed could be to the fact that maybe with the tension of the relationship, she wanted space. And now that she has all that space, she's cursing it. She's like, I don't want this. I want to be with you. I trace the evidence, make it make some sense why the wound is still bleeding. You were the one that I loved. Don't need another metaphor. It's simple enough. So like with most breakups, she's trying to figure out what went wrong. A wrinkle in time like the crease by your eyes. This is why they shouldn't kill off the main guy. When she talks about a wrinkle in time, she could be making a reference to the science fiction book. She's basically saying that she feels stuck in this moment and not capable of moving on. She feels like if this was a book, it would be one of those where you're just obsessed upset because they kill off the main guy at the end of it. Dreams of your hair and your stare and sense of belief in the good in the world you once believed in me. And I felt you and I held you for a while, but I could still melt your world. Argumentative and theatrical dream girl. So she's basically saying she thinks she could still be good for him because of the challenging side she brings into the relationship. So she's saying she's the opposite of a dream girl, which maybe caused problems for them, but also kept him on his feet, on his toes, kept everything really interesting. And so we arrive at the last verse. I heard your key turn in the door down the hallway. Is that your key in the door? Is it okay? Is it you? Or have they come to take me away? So to put the cherry on top of all her pain and suffering, she's also kind of gone crazy. So when she hears a key in the door, she's not sure if it's him coming back to make everything okay, or if she has demonstrated to a wide extent to all her friends and family that she's not okay, that they've come to put her away into a mental hospital or some kind of recovery scheme. Because that is just how bad she imagines this breakup would be for her. The chorus comes back in. I absolutely love this final part of the song. It's really such a shame that we don't have it on streaming platforms. But that's it for this video. If you have other theories that I missed, please let me know. And once again, thank you so much for hanging out with me. If you want to hang out again, you know what to do. And I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!